There ain't no sugarcoating, there ain't no nothing in. It ain't not one human being that's not gonna check in. If you wanna come in their airspace, you're gonna check in. You can choose not to, and it's gonna be a problem.
The youngsters get out and then they have to have an experience before they realize I should have checked in.
So after I talked to Nipsey and I was like, yeah, I love you, cuz, or whatever like that, I'll see you later or whatever. So I hung up the phone. I thought Big U gave wrong information. 30 minutes later, the homies blowing me up like they just killed Nip.
This is my last video before I turn myself in. I'm with my family. I talk to my sons, I talk to everybody, man. I'm just saying, going to deal with this fight.
We have just learned new details that Henley turned himself in. Earlier, Air 7 was overhead as some of the alleged gang members were being processed at the FBI's LA field office. 19 were indicted. The FBI says Henley headed up the local Crips gang for decades.
You thought checking in was just a courtesy, right? Just a rapper showing love when they pull up in a new city? Yeah, not even close, because thanks to the Big U federal RICO case, we now know that checking in isn't just some harmless hip-hop tradition. It's allegedly a sinister system with deadly strings attached. For years, Eugene Big U Henley had the streets thinking he was a reformed man. He paraded around like a community leader, managing legends like Nipsey Hussle, launching youth programs, and even pushing peace. But now, the feds are pulling back the curtain, and what's behind it is dark. We're talking full-blown criminal enterprise dark. The government says Big U turned a respected street tradition into a cold-blooded criminal scheme. Racketeering, extortion, even getting people eliminated for the pettiest reasons. And the scariest part? The feds mentioned checking in by name in the indictment, calling it a mafia-style system, masked as street etiquette. Let that sink in. So, was checking in ever really about respect? Or was it always a dangerous toll gate? From Nipsey to Pop Smoke to PNB Rock, this thing has cost lives. And now, the Big U case is throwing gasoline on a debate that's been bubbling in hip-hop for years. Let's break it all down.
You did. You did.
Eugene Big U Henley just caught one of the biggest cases of his life, federal RICO. And it's not just the charges that are making headlines, it's how they've dragged the entire check-in culture into the spotlight. Big U was a street icon, a former top dog in the rolling 60s, Crips back in the 80s. He later made waves as a music mogul, rubbing shoulders with the likes of Nipsey Hussle and Corrupt. He even ran a nonprofit. Sounds good on paper, right? Well, here's the twist. The feds claim he was robbing that same nonprofit, allegedly funneling celebrity donations from folks like Shaquille O'Neal and Draymond Green straight into his own pocket. So while the public saw a community savior, behind the scenes was something else entirely. March 20th changed everything. Big U walked into the hands of federal agents, accused of building a street empire masked as a charity. And this wasn't some lone wolf situation. Prosecutors say it was a full-on criminal machine.
This is my last video before I turn myself in. I'm with my family. Talk to my sons, I talk to everybody, man. I'm just saying, going to deal with this fight, see what it is. I just want y'all to know, all this stuff is quagmire. Shit is all bull.
According to the feds, this wasn't your average street hustle. Big U and 18 others are now facing heavy charges: extortion, fraud, embezzlement, kidnapping, human trafficking, even murder. And that's not hyperbole. That's federal indictment level serious.
Attorney's office announcing charges against Eugene Henley Jr. Authorities say Henley is responsible for murder, drug, and human trafficking. Also extortion and even COVID fraud. He's facing federal racketeering conspiracy charges. Prosecutors say Henley masquerades as a legitimate businessman and reformed gang member, often appearing on podcasts and media outlets. But it's a front for a wide-ranging criminal enterprise.
He has maintained the image of an entertainment industry entrepreneur running a music label. The facts alleged in the complaint paint a very different picture. It is one a thief, a liar.
If these charges stick, Big U could be looking at centuries behind bars. Yes, centuries. But what really got the internet, the streets, and the entire music industry talking was that this case cracked open the long whispered rules of hip-hop, the check-in. Because buried in those legal documents right there in black and white is an explanation of what checking in really meant in Big U's world. The prosecutors describe it as a system where if you traveled outside your hometown, you had to meet with the local shot caller, pay up, ask for permission to hold events, or just move around freely. If you didn't, you risked being harassed or worse. And guess who was the go-to check-in boss for LA? You guessed it, Big U. He wasn't shy about it either, he branded it. He had a whole podcast called Checking In with Big U. He said it was about respect, but the feds say otherwise.
When I go to Chicago, I respect Chicago. Wholeheartedly, I check in. When I go to Atlanta, I check in. When I go places, I check in. And I don't think nobody is safe. I know dudes right now from LA who are actual gang members who have been robbed for their jewelry, who real killers. Like who really real, like if he ever find out who did that, he gonna knock everybody down. You understand what I'm saying? You just caught slipping. You know, that's how it is. You know what I mean? And you try your best not to be slipping. And if you have the means not to, why do it? You know what I mean? And it's just about, sometimes it's about respecting, you know, yourself and then trying to get home. So, I mean, you know, I hear a lot of back and forth on that. But, I mean, I don't know that it's a perfect answer other than me and my...
Back in 2021, Big U even starred in the series Hip Hop Uncovered, which dug deep into the check-in culture. At the time, people viewed him as a godfather-type figure, but turns out that attention came with a price. According to the indictment, federal agents were watching the show closely. They even quoted Big U word for word, "If you don't pick up the phone, that can mean death for somebody." That's not a metaphor, that's a threat. They even cited lyrics from his podcast's theme song, "When you hop off the plane, check in / penthouse suite. Check in / when your feet hit the street. Check in / cause if not ish get hot, you better check in." The feds are saying this wasn't just entertainment, it was instruction. The indictment claims Big U didn't just collect money, he gave permission for violent acts as long as they were sanctioned by his enterprise. So now we're asking the question, has the rap game been normalizing extortion this whole time? Because the check-in system isn't just about LA. It's a staple in places like NYC, ATL, Houston, Detroit, Miami, basically any major city where hip-hop runs deep in the streets. Artists are expected to show love and respect, but respect or not, the real message is this: if you don't check in, something could happen. And that brings us to the question that's dividing the culture. Is checking in about respect, or is it extortion dressed in street clothes?
What's up with y'all? What's happening? Oh yeah. Oh. Ain't nobody signed up a permission slip for me. Mm-mm. Huh? Oh yeah. I ain't know that. Okay. Okay. No cool. You said what? Nah. I don't know nothing I ain't get told about. Nah. Ain't none of that going on. Look, like I say, all the little youngers out there, that's cool. But they're cool. Hey, well they're cool. They ain't gotta me, but I ain't signing no permission slip nowhere. That ain't what I do. Hey look, if you wanted to come politic, you could have came in politics. Hey, that's all good, big homie. They said he could have just came in politics. You know, that was real. I ain't no peewee. But check out what I'm saying. I ain't no peewee though, so it don't go like that. It gotta be respect. Come on, Kiki. Ain't no next time I don't check in, bro. Look, like I say, next time you just say, "Hey, come holler at me, bro," and I come holler at you. You see what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna never check in. Hey, I'm not checking in. No.
Do you feel that it could have gone wrong?
Yeah, your guy was on their side. Your guy was on their side. You know what I mean? It worked out perfect for him. You know, it worked out perfect for him. I really had just ordered, like, you seen like that film, like all them people out there, like the film crew. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had just came down. It was just me and my brother, but. I had just ordered like pieces for like the whole film crew and shit, so everybody could, you know, and everybody could eat and shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, bro, go grab the pieces and shit, bro. I went to grab the pieces for the whole film crew, and like I had on like little shorts and shit. You know, I had to lighten up. I had on little shorts in order for me to do my little dance and shit and
Right.
you know, do what I do. Like I had to lighten up, so it worked out perfect for him. You know, as everybody probably knows now.
Well, I didn't see any security.
Nah,
I didn't even see really.
It was just me. Everybody
crew.
else was
Yeah.
doing that. Was there to do a job.
Right.
I had just met them that day. Everybody else was there like they don't. You know, they was there to do a job. They was scared as. All them niggas was scared. Everybody out there was.
It looked like a
scared.
scary situation. It looked like it was about to go left.
Yeah.
But they ultimately walked away.
Right on time.
Depending on who you ask, you'll get very different answers. Some artists, especially those who grew up with gang ties, say checking in is a sign of loyalty, protection, and keeping the peace. Others say it's outdated, manipulative, and straight up shady. Even Ice-T chimed in back in 2018. He told Revolt that checking in can save lives. To him, it's about being smart when you travel. If you've got local ties, use them. He said rappers used to check in with him all the time just to avoid drama. But in today's social media era, a new wave of rappers see checking in as a flex they refuse to follow. Like when DaBaby got approached by a local Atlanta crew while filming a video, he stood his ground, didn't flinch, made it clear he's not checking in with anybody. And that moment went viral.
Vlad TV every month.
New York don't know nothing about checking.
I know, I'm straight out of New York,
Shout
right?
out to my from New York, because that's a whole nother like lane. We've been coming to LA since 204, 205, and like they ain't never check in to nobody.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Just go to their hotel and move militant. You know what I'm saying? When you move around the city, bro, you gotta be careful. And that's just, we dealing with G-Unit. Had a lot of drama. So you had to move militant. I think just going to the mall and just going here with jewelry on and this and that, and you gotta move militant, bro.
Yeah.
You got wherever you at, you gotta move militant, because will you over the smallest thing, especially if you an artist. Like rappers die more than anybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you gotta move militant, bro. You don't need to just be out there. That's why assistants are there. Go to the store for you. Go pick up food for you. That's how I was taught. Go pick this up for you. And the artist just chill, because the artist is the bag and the valuable one.
Tony Yayo also weighed in, and his take, Gunna and their crew never checked in anywhere. They just moved militant, always aware, always alert. They weren't out there flashing jewelry or strolling through malls like it's sweet. They had strategies. They stayed low, kept their security tight, and didn't take unnecessary risks. Tony said it best, rappers die more than anybody. So for them, checking in wasn't even a thought. It was about self-preservation. They used assistants to run errands, stayed tucked away in hotels, and treated every move like a mission, because once you're an artist, you're the bag, you're the target. And walking around unprotected, that's just asking for trouble. And it's not just outsiders who refuse to play the game. Even South Central's own Schoolboy Q, Kendrick Lamar's Day One, called out the whole system during a Drink Champs interview. To him, it's not about safety. It's about clout chasing and insecurity. People wanting to flex fake connections, trying to look tapped in just to boost their image. But Q made it clear, he's not about that life.
There's been rumors that LA is probably one of the most dangerous places for rappers. Do you believe that's true?
Yeah. Because, I mean, everybody be checking in. That's your favorite thing to do, check in with somebody that's gonna rob your stupid ass.
Wow.
Yo, you think that guy, the guy that you don't know in California got your back? The guy that got beef with other hoods and all this, you checking into that dude? Bro, just go to the hotel, get you something to eat, go back to the hotel.
Do your business.
Go have some fun where it's fun. Why do you want to go over there? For what? Don't call me. Oh, it's a be having a nerve to call me sometime. Like, what are you talking about, bro? I'm playing video games. My daughter got a soccer game tomorrow, bro. Grow the up. Like, I'm not about to drive over here to Beverly Hills and drop you off an ounce of weed.
And honestly, he might be onto something, because let's be real, the whole check-in conversation doesn't usually heat up until tragedy strikes. That's when everybody starts pointing fingers. Take Pop Smoke, for example. In 2020, he was killed in a Hollywood Hills mansion at just 20 years old. He'd posted pictures online, some with the house number visible, and within hours, he was gone. The internet lit up with theories. Some said he didn't understand LA street politics. Others suggested he didn't check in, and that cost him his life. Even Whack 100 came forward, hinting that failing to check in might have played a role in his murder.
Now, if I gotta be in New York Tuesday, I'm gonna call over there. I'm gonna tell my team I'm gonna be there Tuesday. They know my movement. They may say, Whack, You know that spot you stay at, it's a little hot. Or what you gotta do? Okay, you know what? We usually don't. We gonna pick you up from the airport and move. Usually they might meet me at the W in the lobby and we move, right?
Yep.
So checking in where I come from is just you communicating with your team. I could show up in New York with 100. What that means? I'm in that jungle, right? So if you come in this way, right, and you are artist and you moving around, right, you should want to check in with your team, right? That way, either if you need some assistance, you know where to go to. Checking in ain't about you getting extorted.
Then came Blueface, stirring the pot again. People thought he was pushing the check-in narrative too hard. The backlash, immediate. But when he sat down with Bootleg Kev, he kind of backtracked. He said the real mistake isn't not checking in. It's linking with the wrong people when you do. According to him, those so-called gang leaders you check in with, first thing they'll do is extort you, not protect you.
Passed away out here, obviously, rest in peace to Pop Smoke.
Yeah, R.I.P. Pop Smoke, man.
About LA, you know, a lot of people, when they come to LA, they think it's one thing, but it's not.
Definitely not, yes.
What is your, I guess, your advice to people who do come to LA? Because every rapper has a place in North Hollywood or in the Valley. Like, you know, everyone's here. So what is the advice you would give to artists that are coming to LA? Not even on some like gangster check-in shit.
Nah,
but just like, you know what I'm saying?
And that's another thing. I think that's what the way they took what I was saying.
Yeah, I knew what you
like,
meant, though.
Go find your local hood that's affiliated with what you. Honestly, that's the last thing I'm promoting. If anything, go find you a regular square dude that's got maybe a license, a permit, or even a security guard, or even a friend of a friend who can, you know, pull up and provide you with, you know, the utensils that you need to, you know, defend yourself, or, you know what I'm saying, or just more operate. That's all I meant by that. I wasn't saying go call the head of this gang and be like, no, that's the last thing you should do, because they gonna extort you. They gonna say, well, we need X and Y, Z amount.
Now fast forward to 2022, 2 years after Pop Smoke's death, and PNB Rock was tragically killed during a robbery at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in South LA. PNB was eating with his fiancée when, according to police, one of the suspects tipped off others about his location.
Inside, this footage recording in real time a major heist and about to go down. A spontaneous stop at an iconic Los Angeles restaurant collides with gold, greed, and bullets, ending in carnage and one of the East Coast rising rap stars lying in a pool of blood.
He was a guest in our community and was.
Then came the murder of PNB Rock, and once again the check-in conversation roared back into the spotlight. Some people blamed him for being too flashy, too visible. Others said maybe, just maybe, if he had local support, things might have turned out different. The debate exploded. LA artists defended their turf, insisting the city gets unfair hate. Outsiders said the city's politics are deadly, and artists shouldn't have to bow down just to move around. And right in the middle of it all, Big U, he jumped in to say PNB's death was more about greed than anything. But then he dropped a subtle bomb. He hinted that if PNB had checked in, the outcome might have been different. He compared it to violating another country's airspace. You don't just fly in without permission and expect no consequences. And that analogy sent chills through the culture.
When he was here, the situation that happened with PNB Rock at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, you know, when it come down to that situation and everything like that, what are your thoughts on what happened to PNB?
I mean, it could happen to everybody. Just to be honest with you, I spoke on that. It's about greed. You know what I mean? Greed, envy, same thing I did. I mean, I did that. I was on the other side of, I grew up and I lived on the other side of what PNB Rock was. And we, in our lost mentality, we didn't see it like I see it now as an adult. So I would be remiss to speak of it, of how it was, because I mean, remiss to speak of it now, to speak to a kid, because I was that kid before. I was that person younger. And then when you hear the politics of it, you hear that the father may have had something to do with it, and that's foreign to me. That part is foreign to me, because you're telling your offspring to go do something, and it's not sending them to war, it's sending them to go rob something. But I mean, you know, we in LA, when I go to Chicago, I respect Chicago wholeheartedly. I check in. When I go to Atlanta, I check in. When I go places, I check in. And I don't think nobody is safe. I know dudes right now from LA who are actual gang members who have been robbed for their jewelry, who real killers, like who really real, like if he ever find out who did that, he gonna knock everybody down. You understand what I'm saying? You just caught slipping. You know, that's how it is. You know what I mean? And you try your best not to be slipping. And if you have the means not to, why do it? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just about, sometimes it's about respecting, you know, yourself and then trying to get home.
Yeah.
There ain't no sugarcoating, there ain't no nothing in. It ain't not one human being that's not gonna check in. Let me give you on a bigger scale. The United States of America and all these countries have what is called airspace. Yeah. If you invade their airspace with a plane, they consider that an act of war. If you want to come in their airspace, you're gonna check in. You can choose not to, and it's gonna be a problem. If dudes come and you move it in a certain way, if you choose not to check in, suffer the consequences. You figure like you got something that's bigger than what it's there.
Let's be clear. Neither Pop Smoke nor PNB Rock's murders have ever been officially linked to not checking in, but that hasn't stopped the narrative, because in the rap world, perception is everything. And right now, the perception is that flying solo in cities like LA is dangerous, especially now that artists post every step they take, what hotel they're at, what car they rented, what food they're eating, in real time. You're visible, you're vulnerable. But it's not just LA, let's talk about Takeoff. He was tragically killed at a Halloween party in Houston, a private event surrounded by elite names in music and the streets. And guess who was reportedly there? J. Prince Jr., a man known not just for music ties, but for allegedly being one of the gatekeepers of Houston. So when the news broke, people immediately asked, if J. Prince Jr. was supposed to be in charge of protecting Migos, why wasn't Takeoff safe? That's when the check-in accusations started flying again. People began speculating that J. Prince and his family require artists to check in when they come to Houston. Extortion, protection, clout, the internet was buzzing. J. Prince denied everything, said he's never extorted anyone. But then he dropped a subtle hint that artists who do check in might receive better treatment.
They was there with the homie, and whenever he decide to speak, he gonna validate everything we saying. Quavo, you know what I mean? Because he know he was never abandoned. He know he was never disrespected. He know every time he have came to Houston, it's been nothing but love and respect. That's why he came so many times. I mean, we don't have time for no sucker shit like that. You know, now a lot of people from the different police departments and all these different people want to insinuate like we extorting people, they have to check in. Man, that ain't no money in that shit. I wouldn't have, I got more money than I could spend, right? So I don't wanna say go give you, what that shit ain't gonna work, it ain't gonna turn out right, cause really ain't gonna have that no way. You know, check in for what? But on the flip side, there is what you call a brownie point to be able to have us as friends. You know what I mean? I don't want to impose or force myself to embrace nobody. But by the same token, those that I respect and I befriend, there is a difference coming into the city as our friend versus by yourself. You know what I mean?
So now, here we are with the big UKs taking this decades-old street tradition and dragging it right into federal court. No more metaphors, no more rumors. The check-in game is officially on record in a RICO indictment. The US government isn't just watching hip-hop, they're dissecting it. They're quoting podcasts, referencing documentaries, analyzing lyrics. They're treating this like organized crime, and that changes everything. For some, this will be a wake-up call. They'll say check in smart, move strategic, play the game right, especially in cities with layered gang politics. But for others, this just confirmed what they've always feared, that checking in is extortion, period. It's about control, about who holds the keys to the city, and now those keys are in the hands of the feds. So what do you think? Is checking in a sign of respect or a power play? Should artists be expected to follow these unspoken rules when they travel, or is it time to tear the system down altogether? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't go anywhere, because this next story might just blow your mind.